There's a particular cruelty in how modern society treats people who refuse to settle for anything less than authentic connection. If you've ever sat in a crowded room and felt completely invisible, or watched friends celebrate relationships that make you feel hollow just observing them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Research reveals that 1 in 4 people report having 0 close friends they can confide in. Yet what Jung discovered goes far deeper than mere social isolation. You felt this, haven't you? That sensation of being surrounded by people yet fundamentally alone, as if you're speaking an ancient language in a world that's forgotten its meaning. What you're about to discover will illuminate why certain souls endure what feels like cosmic exile from the very connections that seem to sustain everyone else around them. This isn't about being antisocial or difficult. It's about carrying a frequency that most of modern society simply cannot recognize. Studies show that people with higher emotional intelligence report 40% more loneliness than the general population, and Jung understood exactly why. He revealed that some individuals carry within them an innate rejection of the superficial, a built-in inability to pretend satisfaction where none exists. Your nervous system literally rejects shallow interaction the way a healthy body rejects toxins. This isn't evidence of your inadequacy. It's evidence of your specificity, your soul's refusal to accept anything less than genuine resonance. The displacement you feel isn't accidental, it's archetypal. Jung called this the burden of consciousness, the weight carried by those who cannot participate in collective illusions. You feel like an alien because you operate on a different frequency entirely, one that values depth over breadth, authenticity over acceptance, truth over comfort. While others seem to navigate social situations with ease, you're scanning for something that 90% of human interaction simply doesn't contain. Consider this. Ancient tribes had specific roles for individuals who couldn't conform to conventional social structures. They became the shamans, the visionaries, the bridges between worlds. Modern society has forgotten this wisdom, leaving you feeling broken when you're actually operating exactly as designed. Your displacement serves a profound purpose in your psychological development, forcing what Jung termed necessary separation from the collective unconscious, a period of isolation that develops individual consciousness rather than groupthink mentality. You're not failing at human connection. You're succeeding at something far rarer. The loneliness you experience isn't punishment for being different. It's preparation for becoming who you were always meant to be. Your inability to find satisfaction in surface-level relationships isn't evidence of impossibly high standards. It's evidence of a soul that knows its worth and refuses to betray itself for temporary comfort. But there's something even more profound that Jung discovered about why this separation feels so devastatingly personal, and it will change everything you thought you knew about your relationship struggles. The second revelation cuts deeper than social displacement. It's the recognition that your own psyche has been programmed with standards that seem impossible to meet in the modern world. Jung would identify this as the activation of your anima or animus, the unconscious aspect of your personality that holds the template for profound connection. This inner figure carries within it an almost mystical blueprint for relationship, one that refuses to be satisfied by conventional arrangements or logical compatibility. You've noticed this in how potential connections feel immediately wrong, haven't you? That peculiar ache when everyone around you seems to find companionship easily, while you remain unmoved by options that should theoretically satisfy. Your friends introduce you to perfect matches, successful, attractive, emotionally available people, and you feel nothing but a strange emptiness, as if you're being offered fool's gold when your soul recognizes only authentic treasure. Jung discovered that certain individuals develop what he called psychic radar, an unconscious ability to sense when someone's inner world doesn't match their outer presentation. Your anima demands something the collective consciousness cannot provide. A meeting of souls rather than mere compatibility of circumstances, lifestyle, or even shared values. It's seeking recognition at the level of essence, not just personality or potential. This psychological phenomenon creates what Jung termed divine discontent, a restlessness that serves as your inner compass, guiding you away from what would diminish you toward what would complete you. Research shows that only 7% of people report experiencing what psychologists call transformative love, connection, that fundamentally changes who they are. Your anima won't settle for anything less than this rare frequency of relationship. The testing becomes more intense as your consciousness expands. Each potential relationship becomes a mirror, revealing not just what you're seeking, but what you're categorically unwilling to compromise. You find yourself turning away from people others would consider catches, unable to explain why your nervous system rejects what your logical mind thinks should work. Your own shadow begins to whisper that you're being unrealistic, that your standards are impossibly high. But Jung understood that this inner conflict isn't pathology, it's precision. Your anima has been calibrated through years of experience, disappointment, and growth to recognize authentic resonance. It's learned to distinguish between someone who makes you feel good about yourself and someone who makes you feel like yourself. The difference is subtle but profound. One feeds your ego, the other nourishes your soul. This is why you can't force attraction to people who are objectively wonderful, but energetically wrong for you. Your anima operates beyond conscious control, responding to frequencies of compatibility that exist beneath the surface of personality and circumstance. It's scanning for someone whose unconscious patterns complement rather than conflict with your own, whose very presence creates expansion rather than contraction in your energy field. The loneliness deepens because you realize you're not just seeking a partner. You're seeking a very specific type of consciousness, a particular way of being in the world that mirrors and amplifies your own depth. Jung called this psychological hermaphroditism, the need to find someone who can match your complexity, your sensitivity, your refusal to accept surface-level existence. But the third pattern Jung identified is the most devastating of all, because it reveals how your own psyche can become your greatest enemy when you finally find what you've been seeking. The most devastating test arrives when you finally encounter someone who seems to meet your soul's specifications, only to watch your own psychological patterns attempt to destroy what you've been seeking. Jung called this the shadow's protective mechanism, the unconscious part of your psyche that would rather maintain familiar pain than risk unfamiliar transformation. This is where the real work begins, where your spiritual preparation meets its ultimate challenge. You've spent years developing discernment, learning to recognize authentic connection, only to discover that your own fears threaten to sabotage exactly what you've been calling in. The shadow whispers that you're not worthy, that this person will eventually see through whatever facade you believe you've been maintaining. Jung revealed that this self-sabotage serves a crucial function in psychological development. It forces you to confront every unhealed aspect of yourself, every limiting belief about worthiness, every fear about being truly seen. The universe presents you with your heart's desire precisely when you're ready to do the inner work required to receive it. The testing intensifies because the stakes have become real. Your nervous system, conditioned to expect disappointment, begins manufacturing crises where none exist. You find yourself creating distance from the very connection your soul has been seeking, protecting yourself from imagined future pain by creating present moment suffering. This phase requires what Jung termed conscious suffering, the willingness to stay present with your fears rather than acting from them. Each moment you choose awareness over reactivity, you prove your readiness for the kind of love that transforms rather than merely comforts. What happens next will determine if you're ready for the universe's final test. The fourth revelation concerns what Jung understood about vibrational frequency and energetic alignment, concepts that modern psychology is only beginning to validate. As you've evolved spiritually and emotionally, your energetic signature has changed, making you incompatible with connections that once might have sufficed. This recalibration explains why relationships that worked in your past now feel impossible to maintain. You begin to notice that certain people drain your energy simply by being in their presence, while others seem to amplify your life force without effort. Jung would explain this as your psyche becoming more attuned to energetic compatibility, developing what he called psychic resonance, the ability to sense whether someone's unconscious patterns complement or conflict with your own. This heightened sensitivity often feels like a curse in a world that values logical compatibility over energetic alignment. You find yourself unable to explain why someone who looks perfect on paper feels wrong in your body, why your nervous system rejects what your mind thinks should work. The loneliness deepens because even fewer people can understand this level of discernment. Jung discovered that individuals undergoing this recalibration often experience what feels like energetic exile, a period where they're too sensitive for casual connection, but haven't yet attracted their energetic match. Your system is literally rewiring itself, learning to recognize and respond to higher frequencies of connection while releasing its tolerance for anything less. This process requires tremendous faith because it often means choosing solitude over settling, trusting that your energetic evolution serves a purpose beyond your current understanding. But the universe isn't finished testing you yet. The final initiation is the most challenging of all. The final test Jung identified involves complete surrender to the mystery of divine timing, releasing the need to control when, how, or even if your perfect connection will manifest. This surrender isn't passive resignation. It's active trust in an intelligence greater than your individual will, faith that your preparation hasn't been in vain. But here's what makes this phase so devastating. You must let go of the very thing you've been seeking while still remaining open to receiving it. You reach a point where the searching stops, where the constant scanning for potential partners gives way to deep engagement with your own life purpose. This isn't about giving up on love. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't determined by your relationship status, that your completeness doesn't depend on external validation. Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming who you were always meant to be, independent of romantic completion. The surrender begins when you realize you've been approaching relationships from a place of subtle desperation, even when you thought you were being selective. There's a profound difference between choosing someone because they meet your standards and choosing someone from a place of inner fullness. The universe waits for you to discover this distinction, because only from wholeness can you recognize and attract another whole person. This phase often arrives after your most devastating disappointment, when you've exhausted every strategy for finding love and finally admit defeat to your own agenda. Jung understood that the ego must die before the soul can truly live, that your personal will must be surrendered before divine will can operate through your life. Studies show that 82% of people in deeply fulfilling relationships report they found their partner only after they stopped actively looking. The testing becomes psychological and spiritual simultaneously. You're asked to remain open-hearted while expecting nothing, to continue preparing yourself for great love while releasing attachment to when or if it arrives. This requires what Jung termed conscious suffering, the willingness to feel the full weight of your longing without trying to escape it through settling, distracting yourself, or numbing the pain. During this initiation, you'll notice your relationship with solitude transforms completely. What once felt like punishment begins to feel like sanctuary. You discover capacities within yourself that you never knew existed when you were focused on finding someone else to complete you. Your creativity expands, your spiritual connection deepens, your sense of purpose clarifies. You begin to understand that the universe was preparing you not just for love, but for becoming someone worthy of extraordinary love. The surrender deepens when you recognize that your previous disappointments weren't failures. They were protection. Every person who couldn't see your value was actually the universe redirecting you toward someone who would not only see it, but celebrate it. Every period of solitude was developing your capacity for independence, ensuring you would never lose yourself in relationship, but rather find more of yourself through connection. Jung discovered that this phase requires what he called holy patience, trust in timing that transcends human understanding. You must learn to live fully in the present moment, while holding space for a future you cannot control. This isn't about becoming passive. It's about becoming so aligned with your authentic self that you naturally attract what matches your frequency. The final aspect of surrender involves releasing your need to understand why the journey has been so difficult. You stop asking why me and start trusting why not me. You recognize that your path has been uniquely designed to develop specific capacities that ordinary relationships cannot provide. Your apparent delay in finding connection was actually perfect timing in disguise. When this surrender is complete, something miraculous occurs. You become magnetic to the very connection you've been seeking, not because you're finally worthy, but because you finally know you are. Jung understood that when two individuals who have undergone this profound preparation encounter each other, something extraordinary occurs, what he termed synchronistic recognition. This isn't the gradual building of attraction that characterizes most relationships. It's an immediate knowing that transcends rational explanation, a cellular recognition of energetic compatibility. You'll notice that this person doesn't trigger your usual patterns of doubt or anxiety. Instead, their presence creates a sense of homecoming, as if some part of you that has been holding its breath can finally exhale. The conversation flows without effort, revealing depths of compatibility that seem almost impossible given the rarity of your specific requirements. This recognition often comes with what Jung called compensatory timing, the universe's perfect orchestration of circumstances that allows two prepared souls to find each other precisely when both are ready. The delays you've endured suddenly reveal their purpose, ensuring that neither of you would settle for less than this level of resonance. The relationship unfolds with an ease that contradicts everything you've learned about love requiring struggle. Jung would explain this as the natural harmony that emerges when two individuals have completed their preparatory inner work, when both have learned to love from wholeness rather than need. This connection validates every moment of waiting, every test you've endured, every time you chose solitude over settling. The final revelation completes the circle, showing you why this journey was always perfect in its apparent imperfection. The ultimate revelation Jung offers is that your entire experience of displacement and delay has been part of a cosmic design far more intelligent than individual desire. Every moment of loneliness served to develop your capacity for independence. Every disappointment strengthened your ability to discern authentic connection from mere compatibility. What felt like punishment was actually the universe's most sophisticated curriculum for preparing you to experience love at its highest frequency. You finally understand that the universe wasn't withholding love from you. It was preparing you to become someone capable of receiving and offering love at the deepest possible level. Jung called this alchemical transformation, the process by which ordinary consciousness is refined into something capable of recognizing and sustaining extraordinary connection. Your displacement from society created the conditions for you to discover your authentic self, the person who would eventually attract and recognize genuine partnership. Consider this. Research shows that couples who waited longer to find each other report 67% higher relationship satisfaction and 40% lower divorce rates than those who settled quickly. The universe operates on principles of energetic precision, ensuring that souls prepared for profound connection find each other when both are ready to sustain what they create together. Your apparent delay was actually divine orchestration, protecting you from relationships that would have diminished your capacity for true intimacy. The tests you've endured weren't obstacles to overcome, but initiations to complete, each one developing specific psychological and spiritual capacities that ordinary relationships cannot provide. Your sensitivity, which made casual dating feel impossible, was being refined to recognize authentic compatibility. Your standards, which others called unrealistic, were being calibrated to attract someone equally committed to depth and authenticity. Jung revealed that certain souls are designed to experience love as a spiritual practice, a mutual journey of consciousness expansion rather than mere emotional fulfillment. Your inability to settle for less than profound connection wasn't a character flaw. It was evidence of your soul's commitment to experiencing love in its highest form. Every person you couldn't connect with was actually confirmation that you were being guided toward something extraordinary. The cosmic design becomes visible when you realize that your specific combination of sensitivity, standards, and spiritual awareness creates a unique energetic signature that can only be matched by someone with complementary development. Jung understood that the universe creates what he called psychic twins, individuals who undergo parallel preparation so they can recognize each other when their paths finally converge. Your periods of solitude weren't wasted time. They were essential development phases. While others were learning relationship skills through trial and error, you were developing the capacity for discernment, the ability to love from wholeness rather than need, the strength to choose quality over availability. These aren't skills that can be taught. They must be developed through direct experience of what you're unwilling to accept. The final piece of the design reveals itself in understanding that your future partner has been undergoing their own version of this journey. They too have felt displaced, tested, refined by experiences that prepared them to recognize and appreciate exactly who you've become. The timing of your meeting isn't random. It's the culmination of two parallel paths of development that began long before you were aware they existed. Jung discovered that when such individuals finally encounter each other, they don't just find love. They find their missing piece of consciousness, the other half of their psychological wholeness. This isn't codependence. It's what he called conscious partnership, where two complete individuals choose to create something greater than either could achieve alone. The universe hasn't forgotten you. It's been preparing you for exactly what your soul has been seeking, and preparing them for you as well. The wait is almost over, because you've finally become who you needed to be to recognize and receive what you've always deserved. If this resonates with your experience, let me know in the comments below. What tests have you navigated in your journey toward authentic connection? Your insights may illuminate the path for another soul undergoing similar preparation.